Next debate, 2 weeks away. You have not qualified yet for the stage because you haven't met a threshold as defined by the DNC in national polling. You've pushed for them to institute state-by-state polling. They've rejected that. Tell us your reaction.
How's it yanking, dudes? My name is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. How's it yanking, dudes and dudettes? Gotta have the inclusivity, you know what I'm saying? Sorry to lead you guys in on a little tease like that. We're gonna get ready to get right into that clip. I just want to say, smack a like, subscribe if you're new, do all that good algorithmic gravy. The algorithm loves gravy. Gotta give the gravy. Gotta give the gravy. The algorithm gets mad. The overlords get mad if you don't give them gravy, you know what I'm saying? So do all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely Yang has responded to the DNC, and he's 100% right. Even if you're a Bernie supporter, you can support him on this. If you're a Trump supporter, you can support Yang on this. If you're a Biden supporter, which I've never met one, but if you are one, you could support him on that. You know what I mean? You can, anybody, you know, we all supported Tulsi whenever it was happening to Tulsi. We supported Bernie in 2016 when it was happening to Bernie, even though he turned around and campaigned for Hillary. But either way, we all supported him when that happened. It's time to support Yang, because it's happening right now to him. The DNC is purposely omitting polls that show him favorably, purposefully. So let's go ahead and just roll that clip, and then we'll do a little analysis at the end of it. Oh yeah, and shout out to Zach and Matt show for getting this up so early. So yeah, let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Next debate, 2 weeks away. You have not qualified yet for the stage because you haven't met a threshold as defined by the DNC in national polling. You've pushed for them to institute state-by-state polling. They've rejected that. Tell us your reaction.
Well, Jim, we just celebrated our millionth donation. We have almost 400,000 donors, and there has not been a poll in Iowa, Nevada, South Carolina, or right where I am right now in New Hampshire that satisfied the DNC in almost a month and a half. So all we want is for there to be polls in order for us to demonstrate that we would easily qualify by the DNC's own threshold. We're well over the donation threshold. We're looking to raise $1 million just today alone. And all we need is for there to be some polls in the field so we can see what the American people are thinking.
Let me ask you this, because some of the other candidates have said that shrinking that stage over time has been to the benefit of the Democratic field, allows voters to focus in more on the front runners. What's your response to that argument?
Well, what we've said is that we don't have a problem with the DNC setting thresholds as long as there are actually polls so candidates can meet those thresholds. And I want you to put yourself in the shoes of one of our almost 400,000 donors who've fueled this campaign, and then there aren't any polls to even see whether our support has been growing over the last 45 days. That's not fair to the voter, and the DNC should be trying to make the voice of the American people heard, not pushing it aside.
All right, so there you go, guys. Yang's response pretty much says it all. I don't really have to add too much. I mean, it's pretty much spot on, except for I think that he doesn't go as far when he talks about it. I would literally just come out and say it's corrupt. They're cherry-picking polls that purposely do not show Yang. They haven't done any polls in New Hampshire, any polls in Iowa, any polls where people who are actually engaged in voting would be likely to vote. They have not done any polls there. All the polls they do show is people that would only see the candidates that they see on TV a lot, like Pete Buttigieg and Biden and Warren, right? Even Bernie Sanders, they've shown way more favorably than Andrew Yang, and that's given the Bernie blackout. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that with the DNC blatantly and openly omitting the polls that show Yang favorable, I think it's a sad state of affairs, and it just goes to show the nature of the establishment and why they're in their death throes. They really are. They're the head of the snake has been chopped off, the body's getting chopped up into pieces, and I don't know. I just feel like the establishment, they're writhing in pain. You know what I mean? Like, the more and more you try to silence us anti-establishment campaigns, the more you try to silence, we're going to keep popping up. The days of the establishment controlling daily politics is over. That is just a fact. And the more and more they try to silence us, the more and more we're going to keep at it. You can't stop us. The young are now here, and we're the ones in power. We're the ones taking the power away from all the old people, all the old boomers. I'm sorry for all the boomers who do watch this channel. I do appreciate you guys. And I'm not saying that as, derogatory slur towards all boomers. But at the same time, make no mistake, it is the elderly who are giving regular boomers a bad name. You know what I mean? And the more and more they try to silence us, the more and more we're going to keep fighting. They can't stop us, especially the Yang Gang, man. We're a special breed, okay? We're a special breed of establishment, of campaigners, of canvassers. You can't stop us, man. We're a freight train that's going to keep on rolling. If, like I've said this a million times, if Yang dropped out tomorrow, guess what? We would still be Yang all the way. We would be following him, his career, everywhere he goes in life. He's a household name now, so you can't stop us. The more and more you try to put that cat in the bag, the more and more you just open Pandora's box, okay? So everybody go email Tom Perez. Let him know how you're feeling about how he's pretty much just ousting Yang for no reason. Maybe some might call it racism. I mean, he is the only candidate of color, and you think the DNC is for... he's one of the top 5, so you think the DNC would be, for inclusivity and stuff like that since they're on the left, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the rest of this clip. It is what it is. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys smash a like. Yeah, do all the algorithmic gravy. But I'll go ahead and play the rest of it for the rest of you guys who wanted to just see the rest of the interview. And that's all I got for you guys. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next one. You know what I'm saying? Yep. All right, bye.
Well, one thing you have generally avoided is attacking head-on your fellow Democratic challengers. Pete Buttigieg who has been competing, and he is on the debate stage in a couple of weeks' time, directed some criticism at the frontrunner Joe Biden, saying with regard to his son having a position on a board of a Ukrainian gas company while Biden was vice president, saying that I would not have wanted to see that happen, and saying that if he were president, he would have higher standards of ethics. I wonder if you agree with him that Joe Biden, the former vice president, having his son on that board was a mistake and should not happen in the future.
I think that Democrats need to be focused on solving the problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. The fact that we're going through the most profound economic transformation of our time, and we need to provide a new positive vision for the country that Americans will get excited about, a new way forward. Most Americans regard all of those conversations as political distractions.
Fair enough. And I do want to get to your focus on how the economy is changing. But before we get there, and I think you're referencing this to some extent, you have criticized your fellow Democratic candidates and the party as well for placing too much blame on Trump himself rather than addressing the issues that got Trump elected. Explain that point of view.
Well, tens of millions of Americans decided to take a bet on Donald Trump, and it's up for Democrats to dig deep and figure out why they made that choice. And to me, the answer is very clear that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs that were primarily based in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Iowa, all the swing states that Donald Trump needed to win. And it's not stopping there. Amazon alone is closing 30% of America's stores and malls while paying zero in taxes. So the fourth industrial revolution does not care about political ideology. It's ripping our communities apart. And that's what the Democratic Party needs to address. That's what I will address as president.
Yeah, I listened to a long podcast you did with David Axelrod where you get into this issue that listen, the economy is changing in ways. I mean, already manufacturing jobs have disappeared to a great extent via automation. But as you have more of this happening, retail stores, a whole host of jobs that will be eliminated. I wonder, when you hear not just President Trump, but fellow Democrats talk in old school terms about, I'm going to bring those manufacturing jobs back. Are they misleading voters to some degree by not talking about economic realities here that are fundamentally changing how companies operate in this country and where jobs are coming from?
I think that many of the other candidates don't truly understand the impact of technology on our workforce. Time only heads in one direction, and it's very hard to say to Americans with a straight face that we're going to bring back the economy of the 80s or 90s or even the last decade. So we have to think bigger about how we're going to help all Americans transition during this time. And I'm proposing a $1,000 freedom dividend for every American adult that would help make all Americans better able to adapt. It would make us stronger, healthier, mentally healthier, and would even improve our decision-making and relationships.
Let me ask you this. You're not on that debate stage. To this point, you're well behind the front runners in this case, Biden, Warren, Sanders as well. How do you change that dynamic, and can you change that dynamic in these early weeks of this election? We're 5 weeks away. We're a month away from Iowa.
Well, we're going to raise well over even the $10 million we raised in the last quarter. And as soon as there are polls in the early states, you will see that we've been gaining strength this entire time. We are catching up with the front runners. We're going to grow and peak right when the voting starts in February. And I fully expect to be on that debate stage as long as there are some qualifying polls in the early states between now and January 10th.
The biggest question on the mind of Democratic voters, this is consistent in the polls, is can the eventual nominee beat Donald Trump? Can you, someone with no political background, can you do it?
Well, Jim, right here in New Hampshire, there was a poll that came out that said that 10% of Donald Trump voters would choose me over Donald Trump in the general election. Another survey said that 18% of college Republicans would choose me over the president. I am the best candidate to take on and defeat Donald Trump in the general election because I'm already drawing many of his disaffected voters, as well as independents and libertarians, as well as obviously Democrats and progressives. Americans can see I have my eye on the future.